Hey, this is Evan from Octane and Electrons. We're going to take a look at the LIPULS. That's a LIFEPO4 lithium battery. This is their 12.8 volt, 100 amp hour, and that would be 1,280 watt hour lithium battery. So we're going to get it out of the package here. I've already taken it out of the cardboard box. It's shipped really nicely in a cardboard box with foam packaging, which is great for a heavy battery. And you can see these things, decent size, probably fit quite a few large cars, maybe trucks, SUVs, and it'd probably be really useful for things like RV use, maybe a boat, like a trolling motor, that kind of stuff. So it's a pretty massive battery. I got this, we're going to use it here at my work. So I don't talk much about work on my own personal channel, but I am the engineer for RM Stator. We do battery charging and ignition systems for motorcycles and ATVs, side-by-sides, all sorts of stuff like that. So I said I would do a video on it and test this battery, and I'll show you what we're going to use it on. I have some test equipment here that lets us simulate a motorcycle engine. So here's our large three-phase motor. It's 220 motor controller here, and we can run a motorcycle flywheel and a stator. And I usually use smaller motorcycle batteries. Like here's a pretty old Harley battery that I've been using that's just toasted, and I'm tired of dealing with it. So I needed a big battery for our test bench, and that's where I figure this will get used. It's kind of overkill for my needs for the test bench, but I was happy to do a video on it for that use because I think it's really going to be excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and get the plastic off here. We'll take a look at this thing pretty closely. Okay, that's awesome right away. Let me lift that up one sec. Okay. Get the plastic out of the way. Okay, let's take a look here. So, like I said, it's a large battery, but being lithium, surprisingly light for its size. Let me grab a tape measure, and we will measure some dimensions here just to give you a good idea. Sorry, I'm trying to do this with one hand here. Okay. Depth, about 6.5 inches. Width is 10 inches. Height is about 8.5 inches to the top right there. So you can use those measurements to give you an idea, but decent size, nice plastic case, good handles. So for a battery you might use for a boat or like other utility stuff, I think that's pretty awesome to have the carrying handle. Let's see. So we have two sets of bolts for the battery terminals. I think they're the same. Let's see here. No, two different lengths. We got a short and a long length. Okay, so that's great depending on what you might be connecting. That's pretty excellent to have the different links if you need to stack multiple terminals. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Comes in a nice bag with instructions. Set that out of here. Okay, card. Join with us. Warranty information, up to 5 years of warranty. Charging and discharging information, solar use, golf cart, boat, that kind of stuff. Okay, cool. Take a look at this. Here's specs on the battery. So you can read all that here. I guess I won't mention every single one since they're all easy to see here. There's our, there's our measurements, weight, discharge, internal resistance, charging performance, discharging performance, and a service card. Very cool. Okay, right on. Okay, and then a complete product manual. So I'm just impressed by the quality of this. Like the battery is really nice quality, and then getting this kind of information along with your battery is pretty impressive. Testing information, charging information, battery mounting orientation, how to hook it up in series for increasing voltage, battery cable sizing, parallel connections, charging and discharging info, charging specs, that's good to know. High voltage disconnect, 15.4 volts, very cool. So it has its own internal battery management system, shows different charging logic, what kind of charger to use, can be charged by an alternator or generator, what to do when it stops working, estimate battery capacity. Right on, very thorough. Nice. I'm impressed. Never seen that with a battery before. Very cool. Okay, so let's put on, for my use, I'm going to use the small terminals. So give me 1 second while I do this. Let me set this down for just a second. All right. So I only need the shorter bolts for my terminals on my test bench. Okay, right on. We can, let me grab, well, we'll move it over here. We'll measure it with the meter to start. And I'm going to have to redo my connections over here. So we're not going to do a permanent hookup yet. You can see I'm going to have to redo my terminals and all because they're not the right size. But we're going to be using it here to replace that battery. Okay, here we'll use my quick charging system meter to measure resting voltage, 13.1 volts, right on. And we'll see here. So give me a minute. I'm going to disconnect these, get them hooked up here, and then we can do a load test on it with the test bench here. So give me 1 second. Okay, so this is very temporary, but I have my battery mounted over here. And man, I'm sorry I have sun coming in. There we go. Okay, that should be better. Sun coming in through my windows, right on what I'm doing here. Okay, so I have a very temporary setup, battery set right here. I have my load bank wired in over here to the battery. And we'll do a load test, and then let me grab a voltage regulator real quick. I'm going to come over here. Where did I set it? I'm going to grab one of our RM stator revolt regulator rectifiers that we will use for a test here, actually charging it. So let me plug this in. So this setup is simulating, well, not simulating, it is the stator and flywheel, so the battery charging system off of a Can-Am Maverick, which is this setup's about a 650 watt charging system. So, there you go. Make a little bit of length here. Plug this in. Okay, so I plugged in my voltage regulator. So the charging setup, we'll talk about in a second, is the flywheel and stator from a Can-Am Maverick, 650 watt output. Running over here to our voltage regulator rectifier. We get rectified and regulated up to 14.6 volt output of our revolt voltage regulator, and we'll charge the battery with that. So let's look at what I have here is the load bank that lets me charge a battery from the motorcycle charging system or vehicle charging system here on the lathe, and then I can switch on loads after it. So got some old gauges here, let's make sure they're working. So let's switch on some loads. Now I use this digital meter, just keep an eye on it. So 13 volts, I think at rest we were at 13.1. Okay, 13 volts. We can use this meter as well, it's analog but it does the job. So we'll start switching on some loads here, pulling some serious current out of the battery and see what kind of drop we get. So I've got this load box set up. I can run up to about 500 watts. So you can see right there we're pulling 31 amps almost, and still maintaining 12.7 volts. So very minor drop with 500 watt load that I can put on here. So you can see my load box down here of resistors we're switching in. Okay, so I mean, it's what I would expect from a beefy battery like this to not be severely affected even by 500 watt load. So let's look at charging. So what we're going to do is spin up our flywheel, and we're going to start seeing voltage increase at the battery as we're getting output from the vehicle charging system. Get that to drop. Shoot, my ammeter sticks here at 20 amps. It's getting very old. That's okay. So it's actually 0 at the moment, but so we can see we're getting good output from my vehicle charging system. Going into the battery, we'll put all of our loads back in. There we go. So still maintaining very good voltage with this large battery bank, and still pulling 500 watts out of it. So, right on. I'll switch these off. Okay, so end result, very impressive. This is an awesome lithium battery. Looks like great quality, great packaging, great materials. It works well, and it's going to give me a really large and durable battery for my test bench here, and I won't have to deal with using old motorcycle batteries that are just constantly a pain. So anyways, hope you like it. I'm a fan. LIPULS makes some nice batteries. I will continue to use these, and this one we'll see a lot of test bench use here, and then probably get used for some other projects. We've got some electric motor stuff that it'll probably get pulled into play for. So anyways, very cool. Hope you check them out. I'm a fan of these guys. Good batteries. All right, take care.